Hello and welcome, and in today's video I'm doing a slightly different subject because normally I'm talking about Nazis and communists, and today I'm going to be talking about FIFA. Why should I be talking about FIFA? Well, let's face it, all these three organisations do have something in common. They all have, at times, a lot of people going to their meetings, whether it be in the football stadium or at Nuremberg or whatever, and the people at the top are highly corrupt. Now, of course, FIFA doesn't go around bumping people off, and it's also extremely good at business. But like the other two organisations, it's also extremely good at taking money out of the pockets of the common people. So, the football that is just about to happen in the United States, 2026 FIFA World Cup. So it might be actually finished long ago by the time you get around to watching this, but this will be the biggest World Cup in history. But I'm not really going to talk about the football, but the business behind the football, because there's lots of people who seem to think that this is about the fans. But it's not. People don't seem to understand what this is about is putting a lot of money into the pockets of one or two people only. Because if we're talking about a FIFA World Cup, what's really important is the absolutely incredible business plan that FIFA's got. What FIFA does, it lines up its potential clients, that's to say, countries usually. It then chooses amongst them, and then it gets them to pay all the cash, and FIFA takes it. It's amazing. What a fantastic business plan. FIFA pays for next to nothing, yet it gets the lion's share of the benefits. It's out of this world as a business. Why didn't I think of something like that? Why couldn't I do something like that? So, who pays for the World Cup? Well, the host countries do. And so this is the question now. So why would any country want to host the World Cup? Well, it's what it gets back for it. But let's have a look at what FIFA is likely to demand first of all. So it's going to demand certain stadium capacity. For example, for its normal matches, it's going to want seating arrangements for between 40 and 80,000 people. It's going to want what it terms as world-class transport infrastructure. It's going to want thousands of hotels being made for it at controlled pricing. And as you may have heard in recent days or weeks, lots of hotels in the United States are now being released by FIFA. That's to say, FIFA is not going to sell them. It's going to want international airport access. It'll want security systems which must be funded by the local authority, must have full operational readiness for global broadcasting. Now, all of these things do cost a lot of money. You might think the stadiums, because they're the things that stand out, but by far it is the transport infrastructure that costs money. And one of the things we've seen in the United States recently is that if you're in the New York area, you're going to have to pay, I can't remember how much it is now, I think it's $120, just to use public transport, the public transport train, to get to the stadium. And I can understand why the newly elected mayor says that she's not, or mayor or the politician says that she's not going to lumber the inhabitants with the cost of this, and she expects the fans to pay for it. I understand that, but I bet there's a contract somewhere that's signed by one of her predecessors that doesn't actually permit that. I imagine. I don't know. I wasn't around at the time of the negotiation of the contract. Now, so FIFA has the local governments apply for all of this, and so it takes the money from the gate, the attendance, the tickets. It takes money from sponsors, and that is why, for example, if you have you can't get a drink of Pepsi in one of the hotels that FIFA's arranged. You can't sell Pepsi anywhere en route, and it takes money from, for example, McDonald's, another one of its sponsors, and that means to say, and this did happen during the Brazil, so the poor old ladies selling their pies in the street, they were rounded up by the police and not allowed to sell their pies to the fans in the street because McDonald's had paid for this, and McDonald's were giving a large sum of cash to FIFA. Now, the thing about FIFA is this: it's a charity under Swiss law. It's a charity that's got something like $1.5 billion in a bank. I think it is something absurd. I can't quite remember what it is now. I'm talking Swiss francs here, by the way. Not that it makes much difference with that type of money. Now, the reason it keeps all this cash in the bank is that it says it needs money for as a reserve, and I can understand how that might actually be necessary, because if a World Cup got cancelled for whatever reason, now FIFA makes money every 4th year, it makes a stack of money, and another 3 years it largely runs at a loss. 75% of all the FIFA's money comes in the World Cup a year, and obviously that's in the month that the World Cup is held. Now, it's a charity, but like many of these pseudo charities, it does give its money away. I need to point that out. It does give its money to support football, but there are all sorts of strings attached to that. But I'll come on to that. The people at the top earn very large sums of money. Gianni Infantino, who is currently the boss, the big guy, the big fish at FIFA. Now, he has got a package which is worth an absolute stack. His base salary is not clear, but it's between 2 and 3 million francs a year, Swiss francs. He gets bonuses on top of that, which might be at least 1.5 million, and possibly even 2.2 or even more. And he gets all sorts of allowances as well added onto that. So at the end of the day, he's earned around $5 to $6 million. That's what he's got. And I think of all the people around him, they're not earning quite as much, but it still is a fair whack of cash. Not exactly what you might call a charity. You might say that his wages are justified. It certainly would be justified if he's bringing in stacks of business. So, I mean, I wouldn't begrudge somebody a $6 million salary if he's bringing $6 billion in. In fact, that's a really cheap deal, if in fact it's due to his genius that all this money comes in. And you might be thinking, well, I could do that job too. Yeah, maybe you could, but then again, you mightn't be able to make the sufficient with the sponsors or whatever. There might be a little bit of skill that you don't quite have. Costs $1 billion for FIFA, so why should they lose all that just to employ you and give you $6 million? Now, there is Mr. Infantino. He's got a family. He's got 4 kids, and his kids go to a private school in Doha, in Qatar. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. I'm sure there's nothing suspect in that whatsoever, bearing in mind who held the last World Cup under somewhat, let's say, suspicious circumstances. So, as far as his salary is concerned, also, I think I might point out that it has actually somewhere between tripled and quadrupled over the past decade. So Sepp Blatter, I'm sure Sepp was earning a little bit on the side, but he is earning 3 or 4 times more than what Sepp actually got, and his salary is set by an international compensation committee. It's not done by a public vote. And so now, if I come now onto the cities, because this is where the real scandal is, or the real genius is of FIFA. Now, when it's awarded, the World Cup's awarded to a country, and in part of the bid they have to say, which places will be actually competing to hold the World Cup. And so what we'll be looking for, things like stadium upgrades, and for that, I mean, it depends on the circumstances, but I mean, even to say now €500 million euros is not, it could absolutely happen. But if the stadium's already there and it might need a few new turnstiles or whatever they use these days, then it mightn't cost so much. But the transport and infrastructure, that is really that is super expensive. Building roads, building railways, and absolutely enormous. So the question is this, though: why would anybody in these circumstances want to host the World Cup in view of how much money is needed? And the reason for this is one word: it's prestige. It's prestige. Maybe it's visibility as well. And in visibility, I suppose you're considering global branding. What it is, maybe you want to show your country off to the world for what it is. So you might say, well, what does the United States need to show itself off for? Well, I can understand perhaps the last two, Qatar and Russia, might want to show themselves. Brazil, a bit of tourism. South Africa, certainly, because at the time that South Africa won the right to have the World Cup, it was sort of a fashionable sort of place, and it did feel cheap that they didn't get the 2006 World Cup in Germany. So it's all of these reasons together, but the evidence is that in these indirect, because this is where the cities make money, if you like, it's the indirect earnings, and there is no evidence that any World Cup has actually been worth it for the country. In fact, the best one so far, and this is from an economic point of view, has been the United States in 1994. But it's so difficult to actually calculate what these benefits are. And not only that, in time it's got worse and worse and worse. If you go back to when the World Cup was held in Germany in 2006 and compare the investments that had to be made then, okay, fair enough, Germany was advanced, it had the transport, it had the infrastructure, it had all of that, and then but it was a fraction that it cost of what it is now going to cost in the United States. Let's have a look at some of the host places. What about New York? The MetLife Stadium, and that's where it's going to cost $120 or something like that. I can't quite remember what it is now to buy a ticket to get there. If you want to park your car there next to the stadium, there's a shopping centre. I think it's costing $235 to park your car there, and you can't walk there, and you can't get there via any other form of there's a bus I think they're laying on for $60, so it might be worth taking the bus. Now, why there? Well, New York's New York. I mean, it stands to reason. I think it's one of the biggest stadiums, stadia in the United States. So, I mean, well, yeah, maximum exposure. So, from that point of view, New York, it's a great location for a sporting thing. But so that's where the final is going to be. But the kickoff, the first game is going to be in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium, multi-billion-dollar stadium in the entertainment capital of the world. Can you think of a better place to hold the first game at anywhere in the world? What's Los Angeles got? It's got Hollywood, it's got the stars, because FIFA doesn't just want the football crowds, they want everything else that comes along with it. And so it's a celebrity-driven spectacle for global branding that FIFA wants to have. And now Dallas is there, one of the largest stadiums in the world, so I'm told. So it's good geography, and it's got the scale to put on such an event like this. Now, whilst I'm talking about the places that got it, let's consider San Francisco, because if you're going to sort of pick towns or cities at random, you would probably almost certainly pick San Francisco as being one of these places. And as far as the US US is concerned, you probably wouldn't pick Kansas. I don't want to insult anybody from Kansas, but I think San Francisco's got a better je ne sais quoi than Kansas has. Now, but the problem with San Francisco is if you look at a map, you'll see that they've got a team called the 49ers. I think that's named, that's the average age, that's the date of birth of most of them, 1849. And they play at the Levy Stadium. And if you look at the map, it's nowhere near San Francisco. Now, San Francisco does some good things. Silicon Valley, it's got great, the stadium's really good apparently. And so it wouldn't need much in construction costs. So it's got all the branding bits, but the stadium's in the middle of nowhere, apparently. So I'm told. I mean, I did look it up on the map. So, what about Miami then? That's a good place. I mean, I would have thought that was possibly the home of US football. It's probably the first place I would think of if I'm talking about football in the United States. It's got connectivity, it's got tourism, it's got commercial appeal. I think that'll work quite well. Seattle apparently has one of the most intense football atmospheres in the United States. And I'm told that Kansas City, having now just insulted it earlier, I'm told it's one of the strongest football cultures. I'd imagine, though, as from the fans' point of view, it wouldn't be the sort of the first place you would want to visit on a trip to the United States. As far as Mexico is concerned, so we've got it in 3 countries. First time it's ever been held in 3 countries, and it's you've got in Mexico City, you've got the Aztec Stadium, the stadium that hosted the World Cup finals in 1970, final in 1970 and in 1986. Both were rubbish games. I saw them both. And so what's it got? It's got history, it's got symbolism, it's got legacy. Yeah, stands to reason. Guadalajara, a strong football culture, modern infrastructure. Monterrey, so an industrial powerhouse, and the stadium facilities are apparently very good. And at the same time, we've got in Canada, Toronto. Well, it's the largest city. It's probably the people would consider this the capital in a way. And Vancouver, it's got the stadium it's got a climate control and it's access to the Pacific. It's sort of place I think that many people would want to visit. And my former business partner actually lived in Vancouver. He said it was great. So anyways, that explains all of that. Now, so what is it? What have they got? Existing when they chose them, existing infrastructure, commercial value. I think you'd agree that all these places have got commercial value, maybe not Kansas. And it's the, as far as FIFA's concerned, it wants to reduce its level of risk, and hence the $1.5 billion it's got in its current account, which is there to reduce just in case something goes wrong. That's its reserve. So now, but it's got to be really understood that it is the money that FIFA earns, the billions and billions that go into FIFA's pockets, not into the pockets of the host cities or the host governments. It's that. It goes into there. Now, so ask yourself this. It's not about the fans. If it's not about the fans, if it's a global mega event, who's actually paying for it? Now, in the US this year, we have a number of problems, largely political. I think the idea that people might be frightened of going there and getting locked up. There's also, the ICE people are also. There's all sorts of problems with the stadiums and buying tickets. I saw some lady online waited 6 hours and then the system went down on FIFA. At least that's what she said. I don't know if it's true or not. But in any case, everybody seems to report sort of waiting around for a ticket for 2 or 3 hours. Ticket prices are through the roof, but then again, I'm going to actually, if people are prepared to pay for the tickets, then hey, who are we to stop FIFA? At the end of the day, FIFA can choose where it places these events. Now, I don't have any direct experience with the World Cup now, and but I do have experience with the European version, the Euro, as we call it, and that was in Poland in 2012. It was absolutely fantastic, really wonderful. I mean, football was awful, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the atmosphere that you go there for, and it was just this fantastic holiday atmosphere. There's a fan zone. I've heard of people complaining that the fan zones cost lots of money. As far as I could see, I think the fan zones actually probably turned a profit for the city. I mean, I don't know. I haven't checked that. But there were these structures that were sort of temporary structures, and there was a temporary McDonald's, and there was a temporary beer place, and things like this. And you could go in there, and there was big screens. It was great, and there was a stage set up as well, and there was entertainment all the time. Most of it football related, but there was plenty happening, and I thought that was really, really good. And there was on one of the games, so I think it was the tournament started the 8th of June 2012. On the 12th of June there was a game, Poland against Russia, and it was a bit politically charged, but it was a great atmosphere. So I mean, I know there was violence and things happened there. I didn't see any of it, and utterly amazing. And the next game there was in Warsaw was Poland against Greece. No, sorry, I got that wrong. It was Russia against Greece. Sorry. Russia against Greece. Poland was playing Czechia in Wrocław. And the tickets for the Poland against Russia game were going for €400. Or 500, I can't remember if it was 400 or 500, but that's what people were offering them outside the stadium. And for the Greece against Russia, the tickets, I was offered for 20 zloty, which is €5, but and I'd even heard of even half that price, €2.5 going. But I chose not to, because as far as I was concerned, what I wanted to do was to see the Poland match, and I saw that in the fan zone. Awful game, but that wasn't the problem. It was the atmosphere which really counted, and that was what I was there for. So anyway, for me personally, I think the United States would be an utterly great country to visit. Get in a van, a motorhome like this one here, and travel around watching the games. Maybe the game's a little too far away to actually make that possible. I don't know, but that for me, I think the US is really good at putting on atmosphere for something like this. So I think it would be great. And I know there's a lot of people who, because they don't like Trump, want the games to be, or FIFA, they want the games to be a failure. I don't like Trump, and I don't like FIFA, but I want the games to be a great success, and I hope there will be. Although I'm now, I think lots of people are already very disappointed, but let's hope that disappointment won't mean that they've got too high expectations beforehand. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Actually, I could go on rabbiting on for a bit more about this, but I won't. Thanks. Bye for now. Hope you found that interesting. So I upload every day at 2000 hours now. I'm actually putting up a video every single day. It's normally it's not about FIFA. I've got 3 videos prepared on the World Cup, and one I'm going to talk about 1974 qualifiers, and a different one I'm going to talk about the 1986 World Cup. That's my plan. But that's it really. So unless something else happens in the meantime, the other 2 are highly political. As well, so that's the reason why I'm actually doing it. And but anyways, I upload every normally I'm talking about the Second World War. Holocaust is my specialization, and so this today, for example, there's a video on Walter Stahlecker, which I'll be going up live in about half an hour or so's time. And I also have premium membership for those who are interested, and so membership of the channel costs £5, €6, $6. You get access now to over 800 members only films, so anyway, good. Thanks very much for being with me today. If you disagree with anything I said, of course, do put it down in the comment section, and all the best for now. Bye.